again, people. Well, this is another video of a cop that gets away with force. However, in this case, they actually, I think, charge a guy with felony. Now, it's going to be pled down. The DA is going to cut some deal. He won't lose his job. We'll give him a misdemeanor. He'll go to violence counseling. You know, there'll be all the liberal policies not holding people accountable. But let's see what this article says here on this. So let's see, without video, if we can tell what happened. And if the write-up sounds worse or the video's worse. Security camera shows deputy slamming a student to the ground. Broward County Sheriff deputy been arrested. School captures him grappling with a student by the throat, slamming her to the ground. So we have a 15-year-old student and a grown police officer. Florida Sheriff's deputy works school for children with emotional and behavior problems. Okay, so he works at a school where they have emotional and behavior problems, and his best way of dealing with it is grab him by the throat and throw him on the ground. Really? Rick, why are you hating on the cops? I'm hating on bad cop behavior, bad government allowing cops to do things. Okay, evidently the student was thrown to the ground after she tapped him. He's slamming the female student to the ground after she tapped him on the knee. So I guess the new sheriff took over after this liberal left-wing ISIS, or whatever his name was. And he's been having problems with deputies using too much force. Evidently, he's been coming out kind of hard. Let's see. Scott. Oh, he replaced Scott Israel. Remember that dude? Mr. Left-wing. I think this was the guy that didn't have a problem with the guy not running into school. But maybe that was a different county. I get them all mixed up because all the cop bad behavior is running together. Let's take a look at this video here. Breaking news. We interrupt this video for a special briefing from Ray Charles. Jeffrey Epstein did not kill himself. Okay, back to the video. Okay, so here's the video. Let's see what we got here. If it looks like what the news media said. She walks up and taps him on the leg. See that? Now look. That's not smart. She's got her hand. She's a 15-year-old poking at somebody. She's not a threat, and she's not being aggressive. Not only is she not being aggressive, the cop waits almost a minute before he grabs her by the neck. Now notice they're going to be exchanging words. He's talking to her now, saying probably don't touch me, I'll throw you, blah, blah. Evidently, she makes a comment. I think they sped it up. She makes a comment about, don't make me take your gun from you or something. Being a smart 15-year-old teenager. And this is the response you get from a grown man. Are you kidding me? Rick, they need more training. I get so tired of hearing you guys come in here talking about training. It's like saying a DUI or a drunk driver needs more driver training so he won't go out and drive drunk. It is a choice to behave this way. This is a decision. It is not a training issue. There's already plenty of government money wasted on useless training for diversity and who loves who and who loves this and how we have to be tolerant and blah, blah. There's so much crappy training that does absolutely nothing, and people somehow think when cops do this, we gave more training. Maybe we should have different standards for hiring besides quotas on what bathroom you use, what sex you are, what color you are, what religion you are, whatever the quota hiring of the week is, so we can get more people that don't know what bathroom you use. Instead of having that as a hiring standard, maybe we ought to go back to where people actually fail and we don't reward people with jobs in government and give them guns as a participation trophy because we feel sorry for them or because they really didn't earn it or because we don't want to make them feel bad for failing. Maybe that's the problem and it's not more training. But I digress. Let's get back to how this cop does this. You notice when he grabs her, her hands are behind or in her hands, non-threatening. I don't want to hear somebody, well, Rick, she said she was going to take his gun. I always got to play the cop here. Okay, officer, why did you use his force? Well, she came over and she put her leg on me and she assaulted me. And when she assaulted me, she could have caused damage and serious bodily injury. I could have fell and busted my head. Therefore, deadly force was authorized. But because I didn't want to use deadly force on her, I figured I'd use minimum force and walk over and do a Academy-approved takedown, took her to the ground, and then placed her in handcuffs and restrained her. And I was following policy. Okay, that's for all you cop lovers who want to justify why this cop was right and why I'm just hating on him because he's a cop. Now, from a reasonable person with 2 freaking brain cells, she's a 15-year-old kid in an emotionally challenged school that he works at, and she's minding her own business except maybe running her mouth. She's got her hands in her pocket and poses absolutely zero threat to this grown man who is a man superior in strength, superior in training, who is armed with a gun, taser, and probably pepper spray, and a baton, and has a bulletproof vest on. Okay, when you want to talk about disparity of force, this is the case. She's 15, female, skinny arms, hasn't hit him, hasn't fought him, hasn't tried to scratch his eyes out, hasn't armed herself with a weapon, and is standing there with her hands in her pocket. Okay? I know I'm going to get these idiots here. Rick, you're just picking on cops because you don't shut up, you freaking crybabies. This is about holding government a standard who government has power. This cop has power. He has authority. He has the ability to kill someone with a gun and deadly force. And he doesn't have the better judgment than to grab an unarmed 15-year-old by her throat. If these colors were reversed, it would be a hate crime and the guy would be facing life in prison. But because the colors aren't reversed, he gets a felony charge for felony assault, which I think is justified. I'm not a fan of hate crimes. I like them less because they're not applied equally, but I think all crime is pretty much either a hate crime or you're doing it because you're just an evil person. I don't think you need a special, but I digress. Let's watch him grab her by the neck, hands still in the pocket, because I know I'm going to have people here. Well, Rick, maybe she tried to grab his gun and he felt threatened. You're a freaking idiot. There's no justification for this. None. Zero. By the way, the sheriff put him on non-paid leave, which means he's about to fire him. Throws her to the ground. Still not fighting. Still smaller. He's still larger. That's not enough. Puts all his weight on her. Pins her arms. Actually, he might be even grabbing a fill. They might be able to get a sexual assault here if he tried to grab something here, because he shouldn't have had his hands on her, and his hands went on her, and not only did they go on her, they went into her breast area. So they may get a sexual assault charge on him too. Spins her over, aggressively I might add. Puts her arms behind her back. Is gonna cuff her, and I don't think he cuffs her. Straddles her. She's not kicking. She's not being resistive. She's probably in shock. There's some time lapse here. It's sped up, so this went on for a while. The girl's walking in and out of the car. What does he do? Does he handcuff her, or is he just bending her arms yelling at her? So he just wanted to teach her, picks her up by her arms against policy. I guarantee you they have a policy you will not pick somebody up by the handcuffs when they're prone. Our policy was you roll them over. When you were in the academy, you were taught you roll them over to the side, you have them bend a knee, you push their body up till they're in a sitting position so they can help you lift them, and you reach under the arm and assist them in standing. That's the way cops are taught in California per post, peace officer standards and training. They are not taught to grab the handcuffs and lift somebody, especially a 15-year-old girl. Absolutely outrageous. See this lift again. This is painful. Ouch! Absolute. Man, this needs to be assault under the color of authority. This needs to be a huge felony. This guy needs to get big time. But you know what? Government's going to protect government. We can't say government's wrong. If we say he's wrong, then we got to say why we didn't train him. Why did we hire him? Why did we keep him? Why didn't we fire him? Then we have to admit of all our other government incompetencies that got us to this position. So what will we do instead? Guy just went rogue and we fired him and we charged him. Move on. Government's competent. Trust your government. We're here to help. We're going to protect and serve the shit out of you and keep paying your taxes. Out freaking rageous. All right, we'll end that there.